Good morning, YouTube, BookTube. This is Johnny. Thought I'd make a video. It's been a couple of days. I'm here by myself inside my cell, and the world keeps turning around, or turning. Is it in declension, or is it going forward? Or is it just a slow rot? Anyway, I am, it is July the 16th, 2025. It is 9:40 in the morning. It's a Wednesday. And I am here on the 16th, trying to get this thing, and writing in my diary. I'm on page 592 for the year 2025. I start my second folder because now we're in the 16th. First folder goes from the 1st of the month into the 15th. And then the second folder goes from the 16th until the end of the month, which will be the 31st, which will be, looks like a Thursday. So I can put this, it's a full page here. So yeah, I'm writing in my diary. My wife is at her church leading a Bible study. They're going through the great I ams of Christ, and today it's I am the way, the truth, and the life. That's the one she's doing this morning. They watched a video of a woman who's a teacher. Wouldn't call him minister. That'd be anathema in the PCA. She's just a teacher. Yeah, the PCA, they don't believe in women ministers, women elders, women deacons. They just believe that the office of teaching elder is only for women. No, only for men, not for women. Whereas there are some churches that ordain women to the ministry, but the PCA does not believe that, doesn't believe it. Like it says, there's nothing in Scripture that there were women elders back in the early church. There have always been women who did different ministries in churches. Like my wife, she's the head of she's on the educational committee for the women's ministry, and you have women who visit people and do calls, encouragements, and set up for, coffee in the morning, and they do teach, I don't know if they teach Sunday school. When only elders do that, I'm not sure about that. Anyway, I'm now on page 593 in my paper diary. I just started it. So yeah, what I thought in this video, I didn't do a Monday reads. This is a Wednesday. And this morning I've just been farting around. I really haven't gotten into anything. I'm going to, my wife has a neighborhood women's book club, and I got to take the books back to the library. She has a very difficult time carrying a really heavy bag of books up the stairs into the library, and so I'm going to do that for her. And the library is open now, but I'll probably leave around 10 o'clock. I might stop at Action House on the way home and look at used books, but I'm not sure. And that's the video what I'm going to do this morning. Yesterday, I mentioned in my video that my car lost its muffler and I had to take it in to get a new muffler. And I picked up my car yesterday. My wife dropped me off and I picked it up. It's just down the street, Maplewood Auto. Going there for 34 years. And after I picked up my car, I went to Staples Office Supply to get paper. I was almost, I like to have lots of paper because Because as I watch Rome burn, and as I see spiritual Babylon, and I see the last days of the American Empire, I like, if I'm, eventually we might just be confined to our house as civil war breaks out in the streets of America. So as everything is burning and there's utter chaos and people are killing each other, I can sit here, hopefully we can spend my few hours before the end, before we're executed by Trump's thugs. I can write it all down. I can write it down, and I'll take it into the backyard and I'll dig a hole and I'll bury it, and some future generation will find my journal of the last days of the American Empire. So yeah, I stopped. So I went and got paper. And when I went to Staples Office Supply, I didn't know it was back to school sale. And so I picked up paper. I got these for 99 cents. Usually I go through 120 sheets of double wide about a month. Yeah, probably around a month and a half. I like lots of paper. And so I opened one of them. I already opened up a package and put it in my desk drawer. I like to have lots of paper. So I got paper, 99 cents. Then they had composition books for 50 cents. And I only picked up two. I got the blue ones this time. Now, now for many years I didn't write in a composition book, but 3 years ago I started at night, before I go to bed, I started writing. I had these composition books that I bought on sale, and I used to use these when I was volunteering at the Book Nook. I would take one with me, and if something came to my mind, I write them down, these composition books. But I never really got into them. But then about 3 years ago, before I would go to bed, I started writing down what I was going to be reading before I went to bed. And also, sometimes if I'm down in the lower level, I would write down something in these composition books, which is downstairs. I have this big old table, a fold-out table, and I would write down stuff. And so I started doing that. So I have all these composition books. Now I have a whole stack of them. I'm almost done with one down there. I think I got 2 or 3 pages left, and I thought I would use a blue one. I've been using the black ones for a while. So now, but every 2 or 3 months, I fill one of these up. I just write little paragraphs, what I'm going to be reading, what I have down there, or sometimes when my wife has a book club upstairs at night, or there's lots of noise up here from the grandkids or something, I'll go down to the lower level to escape the chaos, and I might write something in my composition book. So yeah. To me, in some ways, this is probably the best way to keep a diary. Well, for me, some people might use these composition books as to write a journal, or to have notebooks about ideas or writing projects, or keep a list of what you're reading, or they are very handy, and they're easy to store. I also bought not only paper and composition books, but I just dropped all my folders. Wait a minute, hold on. everything is in order here. I have to keep it in order. What I mean by order is that I try to keep a color. I use a yellow. I have a yellow for July. Okay, so in July I use a yellow folder. So then I want to use. I'll use black in August, and then in September I'll use red, and then in October I'll use yellow, and then in November I'll use green. So I try to keep things separate. So it seems I messed up the the color coordination for some reason. I don't have them all right. So now I have to go through my diaries and make sure I have the right sequence of color. I know. So I bought, these are going for 25 cents. Usually they go for a couple of dollars, $2. And so I think they were going for 50 cents. Yeah, 50 cents. So I bought 4 since I had a lot of them already. So yeah, so I use these for my diaries, but now I messed up the colors, which is, see, I'm kind of picky. I don't like, yeah, they're all messed up. They fell. So I have to go through the whole thing later again. So yeah, I got folders. I got composition books. And I got paper. I already had pens. I like these pens from Staples. These pens. It's kind of use. Yeah, I've been keep using pens for, I don't know how, for at least, I started writing about when I was 18 years old. Started keeping a diary. And I've used all kinds of pens over the years. Fountain pens, felt pens, just went on and on. And I found these to be the best. Now sometimes when you're writing, you have paper that is very glossy, and it doesn't absorb ink. And sometimes you get a pack of paper that's really, you never know. It's always like a mystery what kind of paper you're gonna find. But if I find the paper I've been using now, lately, this package has been really, the pen just flows over the page. And so I tend to write more if there's a free flow. If I have to force myself to write, it doesn't feel comfortable or feel right. I can't write. Well, I write very little, just what I have to do for that day. So yeah, when I'm in the mornings, I write all day long. I write in my composition books at night. I'm always writing. It's kind of like, I was thinking before I turned on this video, it's kind of like right now it's very dry out here in Michigan. It's dry all over the country. We're having forest fires in the Grand Canyon, New Mexico. There's fires that have been burning for months. And Canada is covering the whole Midwest, especially up in Minnesota. Canada is just, cities are just filled with smoke from forest fires. And I was thinking, it's kind of like, I see myself in, like when you go to a national park, they have those towers where they have people up there during the summer, during the fire season, and they're like, seeing if there's any fires to be seen throughout the mountains or the forests. There's what they call watchtowers, smoke towers. You climb up the stairs. Jack Kerouac, he wrote a novel called Desolation Angel, and he spent a summer up in one of these towers, and he wrote about the experience. Gary Snyder, the poet, he did that back there in the, I don't know, 50s, there in the Cascades, there in, I think it was Oregon or California. So anyway, I always see myself like in a tower, and I'm looking over the landscape. I'm looking over Rome or Babylon. I'm looking over America, and I'm watching, and I'm writing it down. I'm observing from the tower the destruction of America, the democracy of America. I'm seeing the collapse of the American empire, and I'm just writing it all down. Now, to be honest, I don't really go into great detail about American history in my personal diary. It's just my own experience of living in a fallen world. Now, I used to keep magazines, copy off articles, but I do once in a while might jot down something about what is going on in America. But I tend to just write down my day-to-day life in Babylon, in captivity. I don't really go into great detail. I do write down what I'm reading. I do write down what my wife is doing, what my children and grandchildren are doing, or how they're doing. But I tend to just go through the day. Now, I've been doing this, I have diaries for the last 47 years. And I have online in Crooked Fingers 24 years. I write every single day in Crooked Fingers about my life here in Rome. But also yesterday, after I went to Staples, I went to Blue Stockings bookshop. Since I was out, I did go to Goodwill Northside, and I didn't see anything at Goodwill thrift store. I even saw the same books I saw last time, which was about a month ago. But I did stop at Blue Stockings bookshop, which sells used books, and they're a community bookstore. It's used. It has some new. They have the woman who runs it has lots of book clubs and community activities, and she's moving into a bigger store in August. And I told her I'm going to dehaul a bunch of books, and I've done that. So I got these books on in-store credit. I found 2 books at Blue Stockings yesterday. This is a book I saw in Amazon, but it was going for $40-something. And I had in-store credit, so I got it basically free, which is The Enlightenment, The Pursuit of Happiness, 1680 to 1790 by Ritchie Robertson. Yeah, I really wanted this book, and I've seen it mentioned by John David and other people in BookTube, but I didn't want to spend $45 for it. Not Blue Stockings had it for $9, but I had in-store credit, so I was really pleased to find this at Blue Stockings. And then I found another book. I'm really into W. Somerset Maugham, and I found his writer's notebook, which I didn't have. I have a whole shelf of his novels and short stories. He was a very prolific. He wrote plays, travel, essays, novels. He was a man of letters. I also, when I got this out, it goes by year, like it starts in 1892 when Somerset Maugham studied to be a doctor, a physician. And so I wanted to read a little bit more about as I'm going through this, when I'm reading it, I have biographies on Somerset Maugham, and I have The Secret Lives of Somerset Maugham by Selina Hastings. Both these I found at Blue Stockings over the years. The last one I found at Blue Stockings was this one by Anthony Curtis, Somerset Maugham. There's a drawing of him. This one is more of an outline. This is more in-depth biography. I have other biographies by Hastings. I have her biography on Evelyn Waugh, and a biography and Nancy and Mitford. She wrote this. I have those in my library. Selina Hastings on Maugham, and Evelyn Waugh and Nancy Mitford. But this one is a general one. I got this at Blue Stockings too. He was a very wealthy writer. I mean, he became very famous, best-selling. And this is more, it has, it's really kind of, anyway, I got this out to read along with this. So, yeah, so I got these two. Yeah, I haven't really read much of Maugham. I collect him, but I haven't really read a lot of him, even though maybe that will change. I did read yesterday the preface to this, which was interesting. I read the interesting to this. This was $2.20, but I got in-store credit. So this morning, I don't know what I read yesterday Christ's Prayer Before His Passion, Volume 2 by Anthony Burgess, Expository Sermons on John 17. And I did get a new book the other day. I got this from a book dealer, Good and Faithful Shepherd, Puritan Ordination Sermons, compiled and edited by Dr. Don Kistler. Now these are all basically Puritan ordination sermons by different Puritans, New England Puritans from America. You have here John Cauchi, who was in the colonial period here in America. And then you have here Jonathan Edwards Jr., who was Edward's son. You have Cotton Mather. Several years ago, when our oldest son was going to Boston College, we went to Boston, Carol and I, and we visited. In the middle of Boston, there's a graveyard, and you can visit the graveyard of the Mathers. And I wanted to see Cotton Mather's grave, and so Cotton Mather and John, I think there were other Mathers, John Mather, I don't know. But anyway, I visited Cotton Mather's grave. The Good Shepherd, the Good and Faithful Shepherd, Puritan Ordination Sermons, so I got that in the mail. And The Life of Christ, Volume 1, Reader's Edition by Ludolph of Carthusian. I'll probably read. So it's 10:04. I'll sign off. I can take these books, take my wife's books to the library that she used for the neighborhood women's book club, and maybe I'll visit Action House, write in my diary, go out there in the smoke, as things burn down to the ground. And so I got paper, and I got pens, I got paper, I got folders, I got composition books. I'm all set. I always tell Carol, if she goes first, if Carol dies and goes to heaven before me, I told her, and I tell everybody, I'm just going to shut the house down and sit here inside my cell, fast and pray, and write it all down as I live out the few days left here on this earth. So as far as this morning, we didn't have time to read, my wife and I. We did have a time of prayer, but we did read through Jeremiah last night. So I do plan to read some Jeremiah this morning too. The book of Jeremiah and the Bible and the medieval tradition, the Reformation commentary on Jeremiah, and I plan to read the ancient Christian text, commentary on Jeremiah by Jerome. So yeah, I still plan to read some of that today. But in the mornings, we start reading the Epistle of Galatians by Paul, the Apostle Paul, in the New Testament. And so I do have in the Bible medieval tradition, the one on Galatians. I'll show that in a future video. So I hope you're having a good reading week. Today is a Wednesday. It's another hot day here. It was like 89 last night. Yesterday, 70 during the night. And everything is turning brown. Everything is dying. But hey, at least we can hope for rain. So I hope you're all doing well. And I'll just sign off. I can keep rambling here until the camera shuts itself off. So nothing really going on. So yeah, I'll close. I'll put on my street clothes. I'll go to the library, go to Action House, come home, have lunch, read, write, pray, and watch Rome burn. So I'll sign off. May the Lord bless. Until next time, bye.